No, I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was so funny, right? That SNL would do that skit. And again, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. I'm not telling anybody what to think about any of that. I just think that it's one problem with your pharmaceutical industry that you have to be mindful of is they will push you to take anything if they can find an ounce of justification in a pound of profitability, right? They will have you injecting monkey doodle in your bloodstream if that will help make them profitable. There's very little protection there. I remember there was a time when they would do commercials and tell with pregnant women smoking cigarettes and tell you that cigarettes are healthy. They had doctors going on TV telling people that cigarettes are amazing, right? Because when you get that much money involved, the incentives become warped. And so what ended up happening, I used to work with this scholar, a real smart guy named Bill Schwert, and he had me read through hundreds of legal cases on the tobacco industry. And I got a chance to form a narrative of year by year how hard it was to take on big tobacco because the money was so big. So when people started, first, they made cigarettes look cool and everybody was smoking them in the movies and all that because they knew they could control people's minds with cinema. And then, 20 years later, 30 years later, you start getting people dying of cancer on a regular basis. And then suddenly there's like these lawsuits. And there wasn't enough of a tidal wave of people dying for these lawsuits to be formed. So what they would do is they would just destroy people. If you sued big tobacco, they would talk to your neighbors, they'd ruin your life, they drive you out of court, with technicalities, overwhelm you financially, whatever it took, destroy your reputation, whatever. And lots of people went through that. And it wasn't until just numerous lawsuits, powerful attorneys got involved with class action lawsuits and also independent scientific evidence to show consistently that this stuff is not good for you. Because for a long time, they were funding the studies. They would go to a university and say, hey, we want to give you $10 million, but we need your research to look a certain way. And scholars, as smart as they are, if they're not financially independent, they can be affected like everybody else. Everybody needs money, right? And so this idea that somehow their message can't be swayed, or that there are people that are beyond reproach when it comes to their ethics, that's nonsense. You take a financially desperate person and you give them just a little bit to justify what they're doing, a lot of people will say, okay, well, yeah, it's not perfect, but this is the thing that actually works best. And it turns out to be the most profitable thing. That's why when they did research on the research, when they did studies on the types of studies that were done, they found that when these studies were funded by certain corporations, the results, surprise, surprise, leaned in favor of whatever their boss told them to say, right?